Hey there, Aries. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 29th. We're going to jump right in here. You have this card that says nothing is wasted. You also have this card that says act as if. It's an amazing time for you, Aries, to act as if. You know, one thing I will say is Neptune going into Pisces, right? Neptune, has been in your sign, but it's going to retrograde into Pisces in October. And the thing about this, Aries, is that, we consider Pisces to be the chameleon of the zodiac, and you have the chameleon spirit right here. So, I think that connection with Neptune being in your sign and then on its way back into Pisces could be helping you kind of like act as if you already are the thing that you want to be, to embrace the energy of the thing that you're trying to be in life. And I do feel that would be a great thing for you to do. We are definitely in a time of efficiency. This vulture spirit says nothing is wasted. And vultures are like masters of conservation of energy. They don't waste energy flapping their wings. When you see vultures, they're like soaring around, and they don't flap their wings until they find food. So, again, I do think we are in a time where we all have to be efficient. Even your first card in your first row for your current general energies is the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles can represent feeling left out in the cold, feeling like you're missing something, which we're going to definitely talk about that because that's literally like the first thing that popped into my head. But the other thing with the Five of Pentacles is that they're just not paying attention to the resources that they do have. The card itself says they're calling attention to their weaknesses. They're not focusing on their strengths. They're not focusing on what they're good at. So, I definitely feel that. When I first put the card down, I was getting some sort of message. And sorry, I forgot to pull your last two cards here. But I was getting a message about, like, something missing. I do feel like, but you have the Judgment card in the next row. I feel like this week you could be discovering kind of like the missing piece to a puzzle that's been going on in your life. It feels pretty good, actually, with that Judgment card. So, if like something has been holding you back, it's like, I feel it's like you have the, it's like sometimes you have a good idea, and it's like the idea is good, but it's like missing something, and that's like what I feel for you here is it's like something has been missing with a plan or, how you get started on a plan for your life. And this could be the week where you discover that missing piece of the puzzle, which is great. Obviously we'll talk more about that on the Judgment card. You have the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups represents being spoiled for choice, having a lot of options. I do feel pretty good about this as well. Sometimes I do think we can have too many options, obviously, especially right now. We have Uranus and Gemini. Uranus will retrograde out of Gemini in November, but, again, it doesn't really matter. Uranus and Gemini, I think, it's like, again, it's not even, I like to say that it's like a 3D scanner. It's like it's not even like 3D. You're looking at every single aspect of everything that exists with Uranus and Gemini, so it can be a little bit too much information, especially if you're trying to like start a project or a business. I think a lot of people feel this right now, where they have ideas and that they want to do in their life, but it's almost like there are just too many thoughts around it, and that could be, or maybe it has been a little bit of a challenge for you, just too much thinking, right? Too much information going on in your brain. Luckily, like I said, I do feel this is going to clear up. You have the Five of Swords. Yeah, definitely a time for you to take bigger risks. Again, especially with Saturn in your sign. Saturn is in Pisces right now. It's retrograde, of course, but next year in February, it'll move back into your sign. And, I think that will help you with the risk-taking side of things. You'll probably just feel better in general. I think Saturn gets a bad rap in astrology, as I always say. I think Saturn is very necessary. And it's like if you work with Saturn, you actually get the rewards very quickly. It's like one of the best years of my life personally was my Saturn return. Most people complain about Saturn return, but I worked with the energy, and it was like the best year of my life. So, again, sometimes I think we just need to work with the energy. So I'm telling you this now because even though we're not in February yet, doesn't matter. As I always say, astrology is like a wave. It's not a prison. It is like if you work with the energy early, you can catch the wave early and you can get the benefits early. So I would be, don't be afraid of taking any risks, especially in work or business, especially with yourself as well. Speaking of Saturn going into your first house, it could have you becoming more responsible. It could have you taking risks that would require responsibility, like getting into a relationship, starting a business, anything like that. And so I feel it's a good time for you to take those types of risks, right? And yeah, I think it'll be good for you. Let's see. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, feeling the pressures of time. Again, one of the challenges with Saturn in your first house, even though it's not there yet, even though it's retrograde, it's already been in there. And, Two of Pentacles can feel like you have just so much to do, especially with the Seven of Cups showing up here. Can make you feel like you have all these things to complete in not enough time in the day. And so I feel some of you are feeling that. Is it a bad thing? No, because we have the Six of Wands and the Judgment card in the next row. So like I said, I think this is a very simple first two rows of your reading. It's very clear to me that it's talking about you discovering like the missing piece of the puzzle. This is probably going to help you focus, which obviously, with the Seven of Cups, we need that focus to be successful. With the Seven of Cups, here you go. Are you kidding me? Right there. Like literally whenever this happens, it is confirmation. So this is definitely confirmation from the universe that you are going to be getting the clarity necessary to be very successful at this time. Judgment is like a wake-up call. But I feel this is like a sudden understanding for you here, Aries. Like I said, very clear to me at the beginning of the reading that there's some sort of like understanding that you're gaining on like what you need to do next, especially if you're working on a project or a business. But I feel it really doesn't matter, what you're trying to decide. Some of you are probably trying to decide if you want to move or not as well. It's a great time for moving with Jupiter and Cancer for you, Aries. And so, you could even be trying to make a decision of like where you fit in the world, or, where you want to believe, where you want to live, or what, like who you want to be in the world, right? Like how you live in the world. And I feel you're making a lot of these like high level decisions in your life. And, a lot of these decisions might feel more like a calling, like the Judgment card. With the Five of Swords, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, it's time to put your work on display. I think that there are little, like we've talked about this many times in your readings, Aries, that there might be like little, things that hold you back from time to time, or, little beliefs about yourself that prevent you from putting your work on display. But I do feel it's an amazing time for you to show off. Again, Neptune and Saturn in your first, right? Like whenever you have heavy energy or big energies in your first house, it just kind of makes you need to get attention, need to stand out, all that other good stuff. I do feel with the Two of Pentacles, and on the Three of Pentacles, she has these polka dots on her cloak. So with this, Two of Pentacles can be work hard, play hard. The polka dots in the tarot represent needing to be more playful, and so it might be a good time for you to like also, do some hobbies, fun things, enjoy yourself more, all that other stuff. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Monster card. It says Shadow Self, Hidden Fears, and Obstacles. Yeah, and that's basically what we just talked about. You have this Reframe card. It says Reflect, Shift Perspective, and Discernment. We are in a time of reframing. Again, Uranus and Gemini will cause us to look at both sides, all sides. Not even the sides. It'll make you look at things at a molecular level. You will be putting things under a microscope. So, it's an excellent time to reframe anything. Really, we are in a time where pretty much all of us, but, especially you, can choose how you, your identity, but you have to claim it. And, I feel like that's what this Reframe card is saying. Like, even if you've never been successful, let's say you think you've always been a failure, it's like if there was ever a time where you could really talk yourself into success, it would be right now. And I'm a big fan of doing that. So there you go. You have the Six of Wands, so success, the Judgment card, and the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like you need to see yourself as successful. And I'm not just talking about business, like I said. I'm talking about all areas of your life. I feel that it kind of is going to start in the mind, especially with that card that says act as if. That first you have to, step into the energy, and then you will get it. And the Six of Wands wants you to do that. I would be careful of jealous people right now. This person here is meant to look jealous on the Six of Wands. There's something, going on. A lot of people have had this energy of jealousy or haters or whatever you want to call it. I just wouldn't focus on it, right? I would just make sure that you're focusing on yourself and just focusing on your results. Again, it's I think it's pretty simple. It's if you focus on your results, and there's no need to even pay attention to what a hater says, right? It's we only really care about what haters say if we feel like an imposter, or if we are an imposter, right? If we're not able to back up what we say. So it's there's no need to even worry about it, is kind of what I feel with the Six of Wands, but definitely could be a lot of attention. You have the Judgment card again, so, probably you getting the missing piece of the puzzle. I feel like you're understanding what move you need to make. these people are standing in these coffins, and the coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. So they need to, it's like they need to answer the call, right? So if you get some sort of missing piece to a puzzle, don't just stand there and do nothing with it. Make sure you're taking action. Especially, like I said, in work or business for you, Aries, but it could be any area of your life. It's like you're being given, you're being given a call to action. And so I feel like you need to answer that call with the Judgment card. I feel like you need to step up and take it. They need to leave those coffins to enter into their new life. And, it's like time to claim the life you actually want to live, or the life you actually desire to live. Next, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. Is the juice worth the squeeze card? Your opposite sign, Libra, always gets this card with me. So the Seven of Pentacles, he's analyzing and looking at everything he has grown in his life, and he's saying, is it worth it? Or is there something better that I could be doing with my time? And I don't know. Only you can answer that question. Whatever you're doing in life, you could be doing a lot of analyzing, like we said with Uranus and Gemini, and you could be saying, some of these things I put my time, effort, energy, attention into are worth it, and some of these things are not worth it. And that's pretty much it, right? So you could be doing a lot of that type of work with the Seven of Pentacles, and I do feel that it would be very good for you with the Seven of Pentacles. I also do feel there are like some financial changes here. It's like I do get this energy. It's funny that you go up to the Six of Pentacles here. I get this energy of it's like going backwards, but you're not. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's, like I've worked with a lot of people in business, even on YouTube. I see this a lot. Like I've worked with a lot of YouTubers where they will have a successful YouTube channel that makes them a bunch of money. And then they, start a new YouTube channel, and maybe in a month it makes them like $100. And they'll complain about that, and they'll kind of get discouraged by that. But I always tell those people, I'm like, yeah, but most people don't make any money on YouTube. So it's like you have to realize that you have to like build that thing up first before it's actually going to make what you're making right now, right? But they think that they're not successful because, they make a bunch of money doing something else. And, it's like that's kind of what I feel for you here, Aries. Like I almost feel like this is saying, like, don't get discouraged if you're doing something new and you don't make $1 million overnight, right? And maybe this isn't even money, but it's like sometimes things have to gain momentum. We have the Knight of Swords right here. Knight of Swords is the card of momentum. And so I feel this is saying like, it's not that you're not going to be successful. It's just like you have to start somewhere. And, I feel like that's what this is saying. With the Six of Wands, you have the Fool. Yeah, I feel like you just have to claim your success. It's like you just have to jump into it, I don't even feel traditional Fool energy on that card. I feel like it's saying you just have to, step into the energy. There's, like, not much you have to do. You just have to claim the success. With the Judgment card, you have the Strength card. Yeah, having the strength, number one, for some of you, having the strength to start something new, even if you've already been successful, like I just said. The Strength card is also a card of patience. I feel like you have been patient. You've done the work, necessary to be very successful. And I feel the universe is about to prove that to you. Those are the words that are kind of popping into my head, is that, the universe is saying like, hey, you've already done the work to be successful. And yeah, maybe it's not going to happen overnight, but the universe is about to prove that you have done the work to you. With the Seven of Pentacles, here you go. You have the Magician. I really wanted to see the Magician in this reading because we have the Act As If card. The Magician, he has a snake right here, and the snake is the Ouroboros, represents reinvention. And, you have all these cards, Reframe, the Act As If card. Clearly it would be a good time to, like, reinvent yourself. The whole entire reading is kind of saying that you need to just step into the thing that you want to be. You just have to claim it. You just have to be it, right? And if you do that, then you will be it very quickly, and maybe not overnight. But, again, I think this is probably easier than you think. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this card that says, nothing will come of the situation, something that you're worrying about. And you have this emotions are running high. Yes, I would definitely keep an eye on your emotions with Neptune. Neptune is very emotional, especially retrograde. It's still retrograde in your sign right now. And so I would say that, keeping an eye on your emotions would be a good thing. You have the Two of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and the Knight of Swords. The Two of Swords is like this or that thinking. And again, I think that some of you could be thinking about something. It could be anything that you're like worried about with that Nine of Swords. And I literally feel that nothing will come of this situation card is saying there's nothing to worry about, whatever you're concerned or worried about in your life. We also need to be very careful of black or white thinking right now because, Uranus and Gemini, it's like it's like I said, it's like for many years, it's like we see the back and the front of something. But with Uranus and Gemini, it's like all the way around and it's like in between the fingers, it's like there's all these different, no matter where in space you look at a hand, if you pick different points, you're going to see something different. And that is the time that we're in. It's like, Uranus and Gemini is bringing up all these different points in space, 360 degrees all the way around everything. And so we can literally choose an outcome right now that we choose, but we have to see it from that perspective. We have to kind of step into that energy, and I feel like that's what the Two of Swords is encouraging you to do. You have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, it's like a lot of worries and fears right now. I think there are a lot of things. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think there are a lot of things that are popping up that are going to cause us to worry about the future or, whether robots are going to take over or whatever. And, really, it's like that could happen, but, it's like probably not right now. So it's like, make your life the best you possibly can right now. And I feel like that's what the Nine of Swords is saying. It's saying you have to get out of your head. I feel for some of you, I don't really feel bad or good for some of you because I feel for some of you it's saying, yeah, you probably have been overthinking something, Seven of Cups, Five of Pentacles, but, it seems to me like you are getting the answers you need this week or you're finding that missing piece of the puzzle, like I said, that is going to get you out of this. So, and you also have that card that says nothing will come of this situation. So there's nothing to worry about here, Aries, and there you go. You have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, Knight of Swords can be a card of being too hasty or rushing or making a decision too quickly. So it might be a good time to like slow things down. But at the same time, the Knight of Swords can be a card of momentum or building momentum or things picking up steam in your life. And that's more the energy I get for you. I think the fastest way to do this, clearly, it's like the magician is pointing at him. So the fastest way to do it is to be the thing that you want to be before you are it, whatever it is. With the Two of Swords, you have the Lovers. Some of you clearly love. I almost feel like this is saying don't run away from love. The Knight of Swords, sometimes I feel he gets to the next card, but he's choosing to like run back to the past. I feel some of you could be attracting a person, with the Lovers that's a little bit scary, like not in a bad way, but maybe, sometimes I think we might be interested in a person that would, I wanted to switch. We might be interested in a person that would cause us to grow or, would make we would have to make some sort of change to be with that person. And again, every time I say this, someone always says something about, I would never change for a person. I'm like, that's not what I'm freaking talking about, okay? I'm not saying you're changing your personality or something like that, but it's like sometimes we meet a person who causes us to grow. And, that's really what I feel here. And so, just something to think about, right? With the Nine of Swords, you have the Knight of Pentacles. I know exactly what this is. Sometimes we think about a decision, we overthink it, we make ourselves sick thinking about it, and then we do it and we realize it wasn't that bad, right? It's like one of those things. When I was a kid, I'll give you a perfect example. When I was a kid, in freshman year of high school, I got picked to do this like camping thing for this like retreat that was going on at my high school, and it's like my parents basically made me do it. I'm a Pisces. I just want to be home all the time, so it's like I was like literally dreading it the entire time. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do it. Then when it was time to go home, I didn't want to go home, right? It's like sometimes I think we resist things that are like really good for us and that we would be really happy to do. And then we do it and we're like, oh my God, why was I afraid of doing this for so long, right? And that's kind of like what I feel here with the Knight of Pentacles, for sure. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Hangman, all the perspectives, right? Hangman is looking at things from a different perspective. He's hanging upside down. from the tree of knowledge and wisdom, and he's seeing things from all these different points of view, or a different point of view. And yeah, I definitely feel that for you here, where it's like you could be seeing things from a different perspective, and the different perspectives are clearly going to be very helpful. And the other thing I would do, Aries, is I would like play a game. It's like, let's say you want to start a business and you're like, oh, but I'm scared it'll fail. It's like, maybe that's you looking at it from over here. It's like, maybe you need to come over here and look at it from this side, right? And so don't be afraid, just change the perspective in your head. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Beyond the Ordinary card and this A Deep Breath card. I think we all need to take a collective deep breath and chill out. But the Beyond the Ordinary card is very good. It kind of says you're not meant to be normal. And who would want to be normal in the first place? I also feel if you're attracting love, you could be attracting something. It's like maybe you're a little bit scared of like making a move or, whatever. Or maybe you're afraid of being hurt again, which I think a lot of people are experiencing that fear due to several things that are going on. Right now, Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto's retrograde in Aquarius. Pluto retrograde can bring up those deep fears, deep worries, deep concerns. And so, it's normal. But again, you could be attracting a very beyond the ordinary connection. You have the Six of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, and the King of Cups. So the Six of Pentacles in the good stuff would represent progress. And I do feel like this is one of those weeks where it's like, I'm not saying you're like I said, I don't see ridiculous success here, but I do see, finding the missing piece of the puzzle, which could move you forward and get you closer to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? And, that's how the week feels to me. It feels like a more, I would say you have a more maybe chill week compared to everybody else, which is good. It's like, trust me, everybody else, their readings were like a little bit more sketchy. So there you go. You have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is walking away from things that no longer serve you. Makes a lot of sense with this reading that you could be, walking away from limiting circumstances with the Five of Pentacles to the Judgment card, and you are just, walking or looking for fulfillment. The Eight of Cups, that's basically what he's doing. He's walking away from a situation that he's settling for, and he's choosing to not settle, and he's choosing to move in a direction that leads to more success. You have the King of Cups. King of Cups can be love. I do feel like some of you could be attracting love that is like a King of Cups. In the positive side of things, since this is showing up in the good stuff, the King of Cups can be a person who, has very stable emotions. It's also, I call it a clue card. I have some cards in the tarot that are a clue to me for something else. And the King of Cups can be a clue for moving. And so I do feel like some of you are moving. With the Six of Pentacles, yes, you have the Five of Swords. Definitely time to take a risk. This is probably what you're taking a risk on, is like something that you're going to invest in. And it doesn't have to be money. He could be giving this person here time, attention, effort, love, whatever energy. So, I think you're taking the risk of investing in something. Here you go. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Six of Wands again, which is great. And you also have two sixes. If you've been watching me for a while, I love two sixes. Two sixes basically says you're on the right path. You're going in the right direction. With the King of Cups, you have the Moon. You could be attracting a Pisces for some of you. For others, this could just be emotional states, right? So you could be working on your emotions. This could, on the positive side of things, this could say controlling your emotions will help you will lead you to a better outcome. You have this Dark Woman. It says dealings or relationships with a woman with dark complexion or hair. And you have this Pineapple. It says reconciliation on it. This could be like a past friend or a person that you haven't heard from in a long time. And I do feel that some of you could be, kind of hearing from a person. You have this Bat. It says take care, enemies are working against you. Again, I wouldn't, don't feed this energy, right? There's a lot going on. We had Mars retrograde last year in Leo into this year. We had Mercury just went retrograde in Leo. Next year, Jupiter will retrograde in Leo. Again, whenever we have multiple planets retrograding in a sign multiple times, like one after the other, basically, it's kind of like calling back that original energy. So, Mars retrograde is super bad for getting into fights, starting arguments, all that, right? So you might as well just ignore it, right? You have this Family Sorrow card. I feel this for Aries, that Aries wishes they were getting more support. Like some of you might wish that certain people in your life supported you more, even just emotionally. And some of you could be working through that. You have this cracked cup card. It says dissatisfaction with life. I like this card because, sometimes like we need that dissatisfaction to create the good thing. Sometimes, I don't know. Dissatisfaction has probably been one of the best energies for me personally. Maybe I'm a crazy person, but it's kind of like helped me motivate me to be successful, and I feel it'll do the same for you. You have this dog. It says protection from a powerful friend. Yeah, I would like just nurture and give to those good relationships with the Six of Pentacles. The people who have always been there for you, the people who support you. That's like all you need right now here, Aries. But this looks really good, Aries. I like it a lot. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.